Resident Evil 4 may be one of the most iconic horror games in video game history, and with its release, it changed the overall layout for gaming as a medium forever. Not being dramatic, not exaggerating, Resident Evil 4 pioneered and inspired some of the greatest gaming series we've seen to date. Resident Evil 4 was released January 11th, 2005 and received global praise all over all forms of media. The game had perfectly captured and blended horror and action while still keeping a whole lot of Resident Evil's usual campiness.
No thanks, bro.
Although some ideas and humor is a little dated, Resident Evil 4 holds up to this day so much that it has been ported and released on every single gaming platform after its release. That's 17 years worth of the same game, which even still maintains over 600 people playing concurrently on Steam. Resident Evil 4 will forever be named a masterpiece. Did you know RE4's development began in 1999, with 4 versions being discarded as the team wanted a more focus on dynamic shooting action. With this time, a new style of camera, the over-the-shoulder style, the point of view was introduced in Resident Evil 4, meaning it was the first game to ever do so. This in turn created a domino effect within the industry. For example, Ben Wannet and Wright Bagwell, designers of Dead Space, initially wanted to create System Shock 3, but upon seeing Resident Evil 4, went immediately back to the drawing board. You can clearly see the inspiration within the gameplay as well, with the laser beam aiming system, the environmental exploration mixing with the combat, and many more. Dead Space, in my opinion, was one of the best RE4 inspired horror shooters in that current era, minus Dead Space 3. BioShock was also influenced by Resident Evil 4 from enemies, combat, and environments to where you're free to explore and take on enemies in your own way at your own pace. Cory Barlog, one of the main directors for the God of War series, even said Resident Evil 4 was an influence on the GOW games because of the camera, exploration, and scavenging you do in the 2018 God of War. The Uncharted director Bruce Straley has called the Resident Evil 4 village sequence the best opening fight in a video game, which I wholeheartedly agree. The village sequence kind of sets up the main events that's going to be going on in Resident Evil 4 and perfectly puts you on the spot to really learn controls and learn how to do combat. In my opinion, I wish more games opened up like this, and you kind of see that in future games now, where more games have their own quote-unquote village sequence. And it doesn't stop there. From GTA to Fallout, Mass Effect, Last of Us, even Batman, Resident Evil 4's influence can be felt on so many spectrums beyond horror. It can even be argued with Resident Evil 4's constant remasters that it pioneered so many games re-releasing on more and more consoles, which puts Todd Howard to shame. But the way Resident Evil 4 handled a sandboxy way of combat and exploration is a masterpiece on good game design. Not too much hand-holding and just enough free space to carve your own path within a linear journey. You can definitely feel its presence with a lot of newer titles that feature a similar semi-open world feel. Resident Evil 4 has become the standard in third-person shooters and actions, and it has fully shown that with enough care you can correctly blend the two elements. The GameCube version sold 320,000 copies in North America within 20 days. Europe sold 200,000 within the first month. 3 million copies of GameCube and PS2 versions were shipped worldwide, and as of December, RE4 has sold at least 11.4 million copies across multiple platforms, and is the second best-selling Resident Evil game behind Resident Evil 5. The game is truly an amazing piece of fiction and has innovated 2 genres of survival horror and shooter games. Where else do you see Resident Evil 4's influence? Comment down below and let me know if I missed anything. Subscribe and join the Loser Gang. I'll see you guys later.